Well, welcome to Emerald Hill Skies. As you know, we tried to go live this morning. We were socked in with lots and lots of clouds. And unfortunately, we were never able to get out this morning. So we did a couple of skylets, we could call them. But here we are. Go figure, the weather. 12 hours later, the sky is crystal clear. And honestly, I had started on time at 10 o'clock thinking that we were live. But then when you asked, are we waiting for Central Time, suddenly that helped me realize you guys weren't hearing what I was saying. So let me check and make sure. Yeah, now we're live. So Mike, I'm glad you spoke up because I was already cooking here. We are actually already observing, if you're familiar with what we do here at Emerald Hill Skies, we're already observing here at NGC 4435, which is the left galaxy here in this view, and NGC 4438, which is the right galaxy. We've got about 6 minutes on these already, and you can start to see some debris here, I guess you would call it. Just barely you can make out. Maybe we'll try to dial up the mids a little. You can start to make out there's something more than the grain of this moonlit picture. For context, just so you can see, this is where we are, and the moon is right here. So I've got a little tool here in Stellarium, our planetarium software, that lets us measure this. And you can see we're just 25 arc minutes away from the moon. And that's actually too close. I mean, I don't like to be that close to the moon. You probably don't either as you're observing. But that's the way it is tonight, 91% full moon. So we've got our hands full, but on the other hand, what we try to do here at Emerald Hill Skies is just take the hand that we're dealt and just run with it. So for context, we're looking here east-southeast, I guess you could say. So this is the meridian. This would be southeast, that's east. We're looking east-southeast. And by the way, for other context, this is my truck. And that's where it's really parked tonight. And here's the little office that I'm in this building. And we've connected the observatory with that office with fiber optic relay cable, and we're using that to keep track of what's going on out at the observatory. That's a RASA 11, a Celestron Rowe-Ackermann Schmidt Astrograph, 11-inch scope up there on top, and it's mounted on top of an iOptron CEM70G. And that CEM70G sits on top of a Pier-Tech Adjustable-Height. That's a Pier-Tech 2 Adjustable-Height pier. And on top there's a little monochrome camera, an ASI, a ZWO ASI2600MC monochrome, which gives us these pictures of the sky live. That's a live view of the sky, and it's about a 150-degree view roughly. You can see that the big bright moon is just obliterating any hope of what we could try to see visually, but with EAA we use this scope, and that's a live view of the scope pointed up toward that moonlight. And what we're observing is these two galaxies. The one on the left is NGC 4435. The one on the right is NGC 4438. Now, Stephen James O'Meara doesn't say a lot about these. He basically just says they have bright cores, and he does point out that the 4438, if you look very closely at it, you can suspect that there's something going on here. And what that is where 4435 has ransacked it through some kind of galactic collision and affected it with the tidal, T-I-D-A-L, the tidal galactic gravity forces. So that's what you see going on there. Now in Stellarium you can see a little more clearly with astrophoto kind of darkness and with astrophoto kind of time. You can see a little more of this debris field from that pirate ship collision between NGC 4435 and NGC 4438. But in our just a moonlit night, 91% and 10 minutes of time, you can perhaps see a little bit of debris out here, but it's not that obvious yet, is it? And we're getting into the digital zoom. We're at 186%. I don't think we're going to be able to see much of that debris field. You're just starting to see a little bit of it, aren't you? See out here? We'll go ahead and save that picture because I know we have to push on. We have 44 objects left in the Herschel 400 list. So we're going to spend on average about 4 minutes on each object. But these are particularly beautiful galaxies. Let's go over here and add an observation of 4435. And we'll say with 91% full moon, we were still able to see this tiny, is it 1 arc minute? 4435. Yeah, 1 arc minute of extent. That's not very much. 1 arc minute angular extent wide. Bright core. It has run through NGC. Hello, Flatwater 5. Good to have you on from Texas. 4438. So now let's do an observation of 4438. And we'll say this is a true debris field. A train wreck has happened. Lots of stellar material, dust, gases scattered by the apparent collision of NGC 4435. The eyes. You can see why the nickname of these objects might be called the eyes, huh? Now let's back off of this field where we're observing. And let's turn on the deep sky image annotation so we can get a true feeling for just how much is going on in this field. These are all the different galaxies in this Virgo region where we're observing, and in particular, we're in a part of the Virgo region that is sometimes called Markarian's chain because of a whole chain of galaxies. Kind of get a look at these galaxies that sort of make what would you call that, like a gentle arc? So it's sometimes called Markarian's chain. So let's look at the next one, would be 4477, and that's this one down here. So let's turn our deep sky image annotation off and zoom in on 4477. Now it's just going to look like a lens, isn't it? That's at 200% zoom, so to speak. That's 158 digital percentage of zoom. And this object is 4477. So I'm going to change the name up there. And SharpCap, which is the imaging program we're using. I don't see a lot there, but we'll see what Omira says. Basically just a bright core that's surrounded by a mottled and slightly irregular envelope. Not a lot that he says there. Let's go here and do an observation of 4477. Looked like an eyeball, a lens. Brighter core, oblong glow, not much else. Now the next object we have is 4473. So let's drop back out again, turn on deep sky image annotation. 4473. Not seeing it. I don't know if you guys are or not. Let's go back over here, back off, and let's show chart. (4473). So this was 4447. This should be the next one up. 4477. Why are we not seeing it here? Is it because there are multiple galaxies that are... Oh, here we go. There's 4447, and here's 4473. Okay, let's turn it back off and zoom in on 4473. Looks a lot like the last one, doesn't it? So let's add an observation for 4473. The next galaxy up in Markarian's chain from NGC 4477 looked identical. Identical. We know NB is in Canada. You don't need to specify. Welcome. New Brunswick? New Brunswick. Oh, David Simard. Gotcha. Saint Cecile. David, good to have you aboard. Yeah, Mike is just telling you, David, that you don't have to feel bad about, you know, maybe United States residents not recognizing New Brunswick. He's just wanting you to know we know your province name. So it's good to have you aboard, David. So again, this is pretty much like the last except oblong, and that's 4371. Next item, next galaxy up in Markarian's chain, oblong lens shape. And then we've got 4478. Well, we don't have to use the find. We can just show chart. Show chart. Oh, that's out of Markarian's chain then. Markarian's chain is up here. Let's see if there are any more here. Now we're starting to dart around Markarian's chain. So although Markarian's chain is cool, those are the only objects that Herschel appears to have identified in it. Unless it's way down to the right of this field of view. Let's see. Let's come back out to full screen and put on our deep sky image annotation again. Aha, we have it here. 4478 is the lower right hand corner galaxy here. So let's, right here. Wow, so it has a companion. Look at that. That's interesting, isn't it? 4478. Not a lot there, unless, no, I don't think that is. The Virgo galaxy is M87. But this is a companion next to 4478. Let's read about that. (4478). It's probably very close here, but I'm going to use the index 162. Very small, dim galaxy. Very small, like a star, very faint. Why are we seeing something right next to it that's not on the chart? Look. Nothing compares. Now that star is too far away to be the one we're seeing. Unless, let's look one more time. Nope, that's 4476. 4476 is that one. What do you guys make of this? Let's go out and look at a Hubble view or something of 4478. NGC 4478. Look at that. It's identified here. Does that mean it's a foreground star, perhaps, you think? Let's go back and see. Nothing written about it. Let's say star near NGC 4478. You don't think that's a supernova, do you? Getting a little bit too warm in here. Maybe I'm just nervous about. Are we finding a supernova, guys? What do you guys think? Could it be? How do we find out? Let's say NGC 4478 supernova. Possible supernova in NGC 4478. It was, but it's already been described. It was a supernova. How about that? Isn't it exciting that had this not already been discovered, we would have been able to discover it tonight. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? I think astronomy in general is just cool. So it's actually been described before. That's okay. But we would have found it if it weren't already described. Look at that. It's beautiful, isn't it? God, it's kind of almost a little bit green in our color balancing, whereas this is a little bit yellowish, orangish. Fun, right? So that's 4478. Let's add observation there. We noticed right away a star just beside this galaxy. We did some research and it looks like it might have been charted as a new supernova just 10 years ago. It still doesn't appear on Stellarium at all. It's wild, isn't it? Let me just look real quick in Sky Guide. I'm going to say NGC 4478. Yeah, Sky Guide has it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Not well enough, can you? Doesn't seem like it's showing up well enough. Oh, there you go. Holding it that close, see that little star in the upper corner of it. So Sky Guide has it, but Stellarium hasn't charted it yet. How interesting. Okay, I think we're going to have to back off one more time and just take one more picture of Markarian's chain, and let's do one more deep sky image annotation. NGC 4402. That's a neat galaxy here, isn't it? Take a look at that. It's edge on and very vertical. Isn't that cool? And once again, notice NGC 4477, 4443, 4458, 4438, 4435, 4406, 4402, and 4374 make this gentle arc. Then down here you've got 4478 with 4476 and 4486b, and then right off this field is M86. Well, we could hang out here a lot longer, but let's push on. That's really awesome. Let's go to the next target. that's 4429. So we actually did several targets in a row there, didn't we? 4429. I don't think we'll have to move very much. The slightest movement. So we've got David and Flatwater 5 and Mike. Anybody else want to say where you're from on the stream? You guys are quiet tonight. Okay, so what we're doing here is finishing the plate solving. There you saw the adjustment. See those stars scrape across the screen. That's when the scope is just pivoting just the slightest little bit to, it's not very much at all. It was 0.05 of a degree, so almost indiscernible, but enough to be able to bet on the new location and okay, so here we are. Just probably hit right there in the middle, don't you think? $44.29. How did Herschel find all of these? This is another lens like what magnitude? So you're asking David how deep could we go? I think with EAA, man, it just depends on how long you want to hang out somewhere. I think, what, 18 or 19 maybe? 19th magnitude. This is another lens-shaped galaxy. We could make out the disk shape and bright core. This is 4429. It's on 163. Moderately small, but reasonably bright. 2 arc minutes wide. Bracketed between 2 9th magnitude stars. See the 9th magnitude stars here? Helps you find it. A tapered lens, mottling. Very cool. Now he says 4550. Wow. Look how many galaxies. Thank you, David. Look how many galaxies are here. So we're looking for NGC 4550 just in case it's in the same frame. What about 4442 in case it's in the same frame? Let's go over here. And first, let's show chart on 4550. Now let's look at 45, 44, 42. Nope. Looks like it's out of the frame. 46, 54. Boy, how could there be this many galaxies? Wow. There's 45, 52 down here. Nope, I don't think there's any other. So that's 4 minutes. That needs to be our standard. Let's turn off deep sky image annotation and let's try going to next target without plate solving and see if this works. The next would be 4550. Salute to it. Wow. Oh, the telescope is still moving. So we'll clear this last frame because the scope was still moving. Got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. There we go. .4550 is right there in the middle, and 4442. There's so many. So this is 4550. Now, why did Herschel see that one? Look, it has a bit of a greenish tinge to it, I think. So tiny. How did he ever see that? Good to have you here, Azray. Stu, welcome. Stu, it's been quiet without you and Ray. NGC 4550 is super tiny. Let's see what Stephen James O'Meara says. 1 arc minute long spindle. Not much brightening. Toward the middle. One arc minute. Let's go to 4442. Next target without plate solving. 4442. Not a lot of movement there, just a little tiny adjustment. Stu and Azray, take a look at the moon we're fighting, 91%. That's a neat little arc there, isn't it? 4442. Let's go look at that in Stellarium. It's this arc here. Isn't that a cool little line of stars? It like points us. Now when you zero in, there's so many stars, the little arc doesn't stand out as much. But look how it sort of fish hooks up toward it. Boy, I don't know how he saw these tiny galaxies. Plenty of them here. It's amazing that maybe he did see all of these, and St. Augustine astronomy, ancient city astronomy, just didn't pick all of them for the curated list of 400. Yeah, I think if they're in the NGC list, I bet Herschel cataloged them. Looked mainly like a galactic core after just 80 seconds. 4442. (4442) on 160. It is notable as it is one of the few galaxies where a large fraction of stars rotate around the galaxy's center in opposite direction of the others. Is that 4442, Stu? Bright moon tonight. I have my RASA on the Rosette Nebula with the L-enhanced filter. Cool. Very small, very condensed, elongated, and has a bright star-like core. There you go. Fuzzy star, 2 arc-minute long ellipse. Tiny stellar-like core. All right, let's go to 4654. So in the sequencer, we're going to say next target without plate solving. NGC 46. Let's run this. 4654. I love that little line of stars. 4654. $45.50. Now we're getting ready to do 4654, Stu. 4654. An intermediate spiral galaxy in the constellation Virgo, 55 million light years. We've missed your kind of background notes, Stu. 55 million light years distant, Stu. Let's see. Oh, this is a little more detail on this one. It's already starting to look like a bit of a whirligig. Wow, I bet that's a cool galaxy when it's in an astrophoto. I bet it's in a longer exposure. I bet that's super cool looking. Can already make out arms after just 60 seconds. Let's go look at this in Stellarium. 4654. Oh, they don't have a picture of it. Bummer, we should add it. We should add it to Stellarium. It has been proposed that NGC 4654 interacted with its neighbor, the spiral galaxy NGC 4639, about 500 million years ago. Might have interacted with NGC 4639 around 500 million years ago. It's a long time. Cool pinwheel structure. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. Let's see if we can brighten it up a bit. Let's make the background just a little bit darker, and let's bring up the mids. This thing has a lot going on, I'll tell you that much. Can you see an arm that's like flung out here? GC 4654. Wow. It's not the whole of it, but look at the way we were seeing that arm. You know, I've read or heard that once you get this galactic collision, like this galaxy probably captured a lot of the dust and the gases from the galaxy that it overran. And in those dusts and gases become these stellar nurseries of all these newer blue stars. It's a beautiful image, isn't it? Look at that. Wow. And that's not capturing the whole of it. Kind of bright, isn't it? Kind of burns your eyes after you're used to looking at these darker images. Well, that's 4 minutes, so we're going to push on, but that's beautiful, isn't it? Pulled on and sucked on, yep. Or lost them. Shows peculiarities in the distribution of both its atomic hydrogen and molecular hydrogen, as well as an asymmetry on the distribution of its stars. Very cool. Lots of newer blue stars in the wiki image. We could see the outlying arms well after just 4 minutes. Very cool. Nothing else on the Herschel 400 list, but look at all these other galaxies. Default next target, no, next target without plate solving. And we want to go to 4689 next. 4689. Thanks, Ray. As Ray says, sorry that the last session was clouded out. I know, and it was made for an early morning. We got up at 3 a.m. to come here in that alleged 2 hours. And then, of all things, they give us 2 hours from 10 p.m. to 12. How about that? I shouldn't say they. I meant the stars, but God, I think, felt sorry for me because I got up early, so he opened up the sky tonight. That's what I'm going with. This is 4689. So for context, we're still in the east-southeast, right off of the extended arms of Virgo. This looks like the only galaxy in this frame. So we're going to boy, this one's faint. Look, it's right there in the middle. Magnitude 11, 4 arc minutes. Moon's 30 degrees away from it. All this stuff is right here in deep sky planar. Altitude of 46, air mass 1.37. Fun. This is a dim galaxy. You know when it says magnitude 11, that means the combined magnitude, but this is actually spread out as a fuzzy object. 4689 is a spiral, 54 million light years away in Coma Berenices, inclined at an angle of 36 degrees, almost face on. Stu. Thanks, Stu. Good stuff. Boy, it's dim. Incredibly dim. Faint. Yes, all NGCs. NGC 4689. We could just start making out the arms. An interaction with the intra-cluster medium of the Virgo cluster causing the galaxy to lose much of its interstellar medium, an effect known as ram pressure stripping. Ram pressure stripping. Current look is result of ram pressure stripping. Stu. Well, there you go. We're out of here. We're off to the next, which is next target without plate solving. 4365. 4365. $43.65. Not that far from M49 here. 43.65. Sit right there in the middle. Again, it's so faint. It's a wonder Herschel ever distinguished it from a star, isn't it? Kinematically distinct. counter-rotating stellar core region, which provides strong evidence for the theory that elliptical galaxies grow through mergers. An elliptical galaxy located in constellation Virgo, discovered by William Herschel, 1784. How did he see these? Further proof that the Herschels, William and Caroline, had keen eyesight. So tiny. Looks like a tiny fuzzy star. Kinematically. Let's try to use that word at work tomorrow. Kinematically speaking, counter-rotating stellar core provides strong evidence that ellipticals grow through mergers, like startups. Stew. All right, let's push on. Next target without plate solving. 4261. Several galaxies in this frame. Wow. This is such a rich part of the sky. Stream of globular clusters connecting 4665 to 4342. Man, there's a lot going on. This is 4261. I'm not using darks tonight. I'm just using this sharp cap feature now called hot pixel removal only, and it looks like it's all we need. So this sort of, for EAA, it kind of removes the need for darks, and you don't have to keep shooting darks. It's crazy, isn't it? Are we still good for deep sky image annotation? Yeah, I think we've drifted a little bit. Let's resync without. So in other words, plate solve, solve only. But I think it's going to be that guy right there. Pretty much everything you see here is a galaxy. Yeah, that's 4261 right there. Another fuzzy star. You know, I just listened to a talk today by a guy talking about these galaxies in Virgo, and he was kind of almost, I didn't appreciate it, he was almost unkind. He said, they all look alike, and I know they kind of do, okay, I admit it, but still, just to say it like that, it sounded so much like he's scoffing. He said, apologies to astronomers, they all look alike. 4261 is elliptical, 100 million light years away, 60,000 light years across. Oh, a jet is emanating from it. So it's one of those like M87. No, this is 4261, Azray, not 4361. How cool is it there's a jet emanating from it? You don't suppose that's the jet? Nah, that's too long, isn't it? At 3 minutes, we don't see the jet. Let's go out here, 4261, NGC 4261. Ah, look. That's almost like infrared, right? Oh, X-ray. Wow, look at this. Seems like it's almost blowing steam out of its ears, doesn't it? That's Hubble. Two prominent jets can be observed in the radio band. Supermassive black hole, huh? Visually, it just looks like one of these fuzzy stars. So I'm going to say here, in the radio band. Okay, off we go. Next target without plate solving. Next is 4596. (4596). We've got nice, keen focus going, don't we? Look how pinpoint those stars are, man. Achoo, suddenly 12 more have appeared. So Stu is saying that if you sneeze on your screen, it makes it look like there are 12 more galaxies there. Stu, that was a random thought. No, that was funny. Wow. So this is 4596. NGC 4596. A barred lenticular. Barred lenticular. 55 million light years away. Dark Matter, good to have you back. Finally off the phone, can hear you. Good to see you all. Flatwater 5, good to have you back. As one of you said one night when we came together, all the usual suspects. I keep hearing that in my head. We'll have to get hoodies made with that. We'll have to make a hoodie with that phrase on it. All the usual suspects. Is this the bar? Kind of looks like the spiral. 4496. Whoops, I did it again. I held down the control key. There we go. No picture in Stellarium. These three stars are kind of cool, huh? Makes it look like they're in a satellite dish, right? And that's the little receiver. So we're real close to M60 here. (4596). Supermassive black hole, 78 million suns. Dark Meta says, Stu, how you been? Sup? Supermassive black hole, 78 million suns. That's a lot. Nice. Look at that spiral structure. Okay, we're out of here. Next target without plate solving. Let's go to 4660. (4596) has a strong bar with bright ansi at the ends. Two diffuse spiral arms branch off from the ends of the bar, form an inner pseudo-ring. Azrae, I don't know why you're not seeing others. I'm seeing all of them here in this chat. I still have the clip when you said Dark Meta is the best Minecraft YouTuber. 4660. Oh yeah, this will show M60 in the same M59 and M60. Nice. So here's M60. But 4660 is here in the middle. Well, I hate to admit it, but the guy was right when he said a lot of these do look alike. Lens-like with a bright core. But we're seeing island universes here. 63 million light years away. Bright core, outer glow, lens-like. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Flatwater 5 said, tell Asri Astrophotography to hit live chat. Stu said, or unblock me. And Asri said, that did it, thanks. Maybe he got sick of my info dump spam. Flatwater 5, nah, not possible. You guys dropped some serious knowledge. No one is sick of it. All right. We're out of here. That's all she wrote. Let's head to next target without place solving. 4273. NGC 4273. Waiting for the mount to settle. Okay. A long tidal filament was detected associated with 4660. This appears to indicate a past gravitational interaction with another galaxy. Cool. Wow. There are a lot of galaxies in this view. My goodness gracious. This looks like the Hubble Deep Field or whatever it's called. Wow. First of all, what is this down here? Let's see if we can turn on deep sky image annotation. That's M61 down here. Look at all this stuff. My goodness. Ah! Every single one of these is a different galaxy with what? Another, how many stars are in a typical galaxy? 1 billion? Oh my goodness, Flatwater 5. You did a $20 super chat. That's crazy. Flatwater 5, thank you so much. I can't believe it. That's amazing. This is going to help provide an entire week's worth of food for a family that got sent out of their house when that earthquake hit southern Turkey. Thank you so much. Billions and billions and billions of stars. Look, every one of these is a different galaxy. Jumping 60,000 gigawatts. Okay, but right now we're here to see 4273, which is right here. Still kind of grainy. Man. trillions and trillions, as Ray says. Dark matter. When I look into the cosmos, it gives me this deep, terrifying feeling of fear and helplessness. It's overwhelming sometimes, and it's always there. We are so tiny. Ah! Thank you, Flatwater 5. Okay, so this is NGC 4273. Moving away from the Milky Way, a radial velocity of 2,335 kilometers per second. Moving away from Milky Way, 2,335 kilometers per second. Stu. Hard to get your head around all of it. I've always got that feeling when I look out into space, even though it's what I want to see more than anything. The universe is so hostile. Majestic, Flatwater 5 says. We could definitely see spiral arms, but there were so many galaxies in this field of view, it caused dark matter terrifying feeling of fear and helplessness. Overwhelming. Look at all those spiral arms going on. Again, this is 4273. GC 4273. Wow. See? Isn't that cool? Almost like some neat seashell. And look how this almost looks like backward number 9 or something. It's like an upside down number 6. Let's go back to this. See what we're seeing? There's that upside down number 6. This galaxy looked like number 6 with that loose flailing arm. If this was all designed, it must have been some type of generative algorithm type of system unfolding once set in motion like pool balls on a table. It's so ridiculously complicated. You know, I listened to a guy talk about cosmology today. In other words, how do we get something from nothing? And I gotta say, with deep respect to him, the mental gymnastics that it took to be able to make it possible. Look at this. Isn't that cool? I think they said that was M60. Is that right? By the time the guy got done, M61, sorry. I think it would have been just as wild if he would have proposed that there was a creator who made it all. So honestly, I've come to the conclusion, let's go to NGC 4281. That's not my conclusion. 4281, NGC 4281. I've come to the conclusion, after listening to that guy's hour and 20-minute lecture, here's my conclusion. It was no more difficult. Here's my conclusion. It was no more difficult to presume that somebody created this, that a God created this, the God, the creator God created this, than it was to do all of his mental gymnastics. I mean, what he was proposing, it was stuff that was so complicated. And I happen to know he had done this lecture in 2013, and he, with deep respect to him, deep, I mean, seriously, deep respect, he sounded so sure of himself in some of these things he was saying that it was almost like he was sort of a little bit, I don't want to say arrogant, but it was a little bit arrogant. And honestly, some of the stuff he was saying has been disproven since 2013. I don't think it's any more ridiculous or ludicrous or difficult or hard. At one point he said, we've now proven, and then he went on to say something that's been disproven 10 years later with the help of the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST. It would have just been better for him to say, you know, I don't know how this got here. I've come to the conclusion that some supernatural being created it. But instead, he sounded so arrogant. And he talked about, we don't need any, what do you call it, supernatural shenanigans to invent our universe, he said. But then, 10 years later, with his super crazy detailed mental gymnastics, it really would have been embarrassing for him to listen to himself now, 10 years later. Sad to say. Did we move any? Oh yeah, that's 4281 is in the middle. So it must be right there, right? Yeah. We're just a little bit off. Let's go back. Take this off and look at 4281. So that's that. 4281. Yeah, people seem to love reading a few things, watching a few videos, then professing to know as much as experts who studied 20 plus years. Yeah, it's a conundrum. Something or nothing, how can existence begin existing? Looks like a shrimp. That's a great idea, Ray. That did look like a shrimp. Exactly like a shrimp. Okay, so this is a lens-like, this is NGC 4281. Lens-like bright core. How did Herschel see all these? Maybe it was Caroline. All right, out of here. Next target without plate solving is NGC 4535. NGC 4535. So many people recently think they're masters of debate for some reason. Maybe a power trip. But they recite these known fallacies like parrots. Yeah. I think you're right. Dark matter. 4535. Islands in the sun. Islands made of suns. Yeah, as Ray says, it's called faith for a reason. I agree, Ray. I think in some ways, after listening to his hour of mental shenanigans, I just wanted to say to him, sir, it's easier for me just to believe that a creator made it than to go through everything that you just said. Wow. Look at that. Look at that in the middle. That is a cool... (4535). Oh, and there's 4526. That's going to be coming up. And 4570. We can get 3 for the price of 1 here. Okay, so first, NGC 4535. This is beautiful. Look at the whirligig. It's one of those face-on S-shaped spirals. 4535. Let's go look at Stellarium. The Lost Galaxy of Copeland. Oh my goodness, look at that. Stu says, just because something's been proven false doesn't mean I can't believe in it. That's right. Because in 10 years, they'll be different anyway. NGC 4535 is a barred spiral located 54 million light years from Earth. Remember the Virgo cluster. It's a barred spiral. Boy, I tell you what, this is a very beautiful galaxy. Barred spiral. 54 million light years away. Every time you say NGC 4535, I hear Zager and Evans song lyrics. What is that? Zager and Evans. You got Flatwater 5, you got more songs than anybody I've ever known. This is the Lost Galaxy of Copeland. Where did that name come from? In the year 2525, so many arms, so many spirals, looks like a whirligig from the county fair. Did you guys ever get a whirligig from the county fair? Because that's what this looks like. And look how these arms start trailing out here like dust. Dust in the wind. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Good song. Flatwater 5 says it's breathtaking. I agree. And how wide do you suppose this is? I know Stu told us how far away it was. It was like 54 million light years. I wonder how wide it is. You think it's 100,000? Canon Lucas. That is a live image, right? I wonder if Canon Lucas, I wonder if that K is supposed to be a D. Is it Danon? Yep, that's live. In fact, and it's just 5 minutes of 20-second images. So it's a collection of 20-second time exposures that have been stacked, and the software averages them automatically. Isn't that cool that the software does that? It averages them, and Makes the brights brighter and the darks darker. 117,000 light years across. Stu, you're just a walking encyclopedia. Light years across. We're on NGC 4535. In the year 2525. Look, we're seeing the far-flung dust now out here. I know we're just supposed to hang around on these for 4 minutes, but this is an exception. Ah! It's 4535. NGC 4535. Now, Ken and Lucas, this is not live through our 11-inch telescope. This is live through some Hubble-like thing. It's the very large telescope at the Paranal Observatory in Chile. I think we looked this up once, didn't we, guys? We had to find out what size this was. I think it was... Oh, I forget. Paranal. How wide is the very large telescope array at Paranal in Chile? .2 meters for a combined imaging of 27 feet. And 4 others. Wait, it's 4 telescopes, 27 feet wide each. Ah! They've got 4 telescopes going, 27 wide each, and 4 others 6 feet. No wonder they can make this kind of image. I just gotta say, that's amazing. Look how many arms there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So would you count that as 5 different spiral arms? Oh, rats. Ours doesn't look as good as the Paranal. The Very Large Telescope Array. Very large. VLTA. This is no VLTA, but it is pretty cool, isn't it? For a live view after just 8 minutes. And we don't know how long they hung around to do this. This could have been 20 hours for all we know. Look at all those blue stars. All those would be new stars that have just formed. Books, hello from Australia. You ask what software, it's SharpCap. Dennis, good to have you here from Vegas. Not in your normal location. I hope you're winning enough to buy a new telescope, Dennis. Photons travel at the speed of light, don't experience time. Canon. Somebody must have asked. Cheers from Chile. Clear skies here. Ganong, are you in Chile? Ganong Lucas. Saw a falling star burning high above the Las Vegas sands. Giant Magellan telescope is really big. Do Starlink satellites cause problems to your captures? Oh, not that much. Every once in a while there'll be a satellite trail, but we don't worry about it. Azray, that's a little bit bigger than mine. He laughed. Violet arm studded aquamarine. You're right. That's a good description, Flatwater 5. This is beautiful. It's been 10 minutes. I'm going to take a picture of this, I think. This is just too beautiful. We're not doing too many pictures because We're going so fast, but this is extremely unique galaxy. I think we should do one of these where we just screenshot it like this. And we call it and here NGC 4535 10 minutes on 2023-0402. That's like the screenshot, and then we'll also do save exactly as seen. Man, that is one crazy mixed up galaxy. Look, we're seeing that arm. So we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. All 5 arms after 11 minutes. I'll tell you what, EAA rocks. Next target without plate solving. 5 arms. Amazing. Next is NGC 4866. Canon. Entonces habla español. Es de Santiago, de Chile. Pero bienvenido. Looks like another galaxy to the lower right of it. You were right. I should have looked at that one too, Ray. Good point. You know what? I wonder if that was... In fact, I remember us saying we could get 3 for the price of 1. Rats! And we already jumped off of it. You know what we could do is go back and look at the picture. You want to do that? 45... Nah, let's just go to it. 4866. It was in desktop. Sorry for the bright light. 45, 35. Oh, that's the one I took that was a screenshot. Oh, I must not have had the name correct. It didn't save it in the right place. Bummer. All right, so this is... Look at that, it's edge on. It's like a frisbee that somebody threw vertically. 4866. This is the vertical frisbee throw galaxy. The lost vertical frisbee. That's not a very good picture of 4866. If this is 4866. Oh. Sí, po. Soy de Chile, jajaja. Gran trabajo. Felicitaciones y gracias por compartir tus capturas y conocimiento. La astronomía y astrofotografía son actividades muy geniales. Geniales. ¿Qué significa geniales? A mí es una nueva palabra. He says, oh yeah, I'm from Chile, and then he laughed. He says, great work, congratulations, and thanks for sharing the captures and the knowledge. This is Team Astronomy here, Ghanem, so we're glad to have you aboard. He says, astronomy and astrophotography are activities very geniales. Pero ¿qué significa geniales? Geniales. No tengo ni siquiera una idea. (4866), spot on. It's the vertical frisbee. Oh, look, there's another star. I wonder if that's in the foreground or if that's a supernova. I think it's in the foreground, right? This is 4866. GC 4866 wiki. Man, that's cool. There's that star. Oh, there is a supernova that was discovered in 2015. I bet that's it. We found another supernova 8 years after it was discovered. Fun. Nice supernova. Stood out right away, but it was discovered 8 years ago. Genial means cool. It's like saying cool. 4866 is an unbarred lenticular. Unbarred lenticular. 100 million light years away. First observed in 1787. That would have been fun to be the first one to observe this, huh? Probably Caroline did it, and then William got the credit. Supernovas don't last 8 years. I guess you're right. Rats. So we're just seeing something else, aren't we? We saw a cool star, muy genial, next to the disk that we thought might have been a supernova, and then Stu rained on my parade and said it probably wasn't. Bummer. But it's still a cool galaxy, edge on like that. Okay, when we started the night, there were 50 to go. We're at 33 now to go. So that's cool. Did we really look at 27 objects? Surely not. We don't have much time left, do we? Muy geniales. Okay, so let's call this one next target without plate solving. And it's 4526 is next. NGC 4526. (4526). We go to the observing log. Well, I tell you what we'll do. We'll just after this is over, we'll that's cool. This is 4526. GC 4526. Can you believe we've done all this with 91% moonlight? It's crazy, isn't it? So this must be 4526 here. More of an edge-on spiral. Yep. Sure enough. What you got, Stu, on 4526? Oh, right there he is. Stu delivers. He's like Domino's. It's also listed as 4560. That's strange, isn't it? Lenticular with embedded dusty disk. How about that? 55 million light years away. An embedded dusty disk. This has one of those stars there in the arms as well. See? This one's very dim though. NGC 4526. Oh, there it is. There's the star. Dusky embedded disk. Whoa. So that's the, I assume that's the Paranal view. Let's see if they tell us. Hubble. Supernova 1994D, lower left. (1994). It reached its peak, but I think, Stu, what we are seeing is like the leftover vestige of it. It's not as bright as it was when it beaconed out, you know, but it's still very bright, right? Wow, that's cool. So these are the wiki versions. That's beautiful. And here's the live version. Not as cool. But there's that supernova. The vestige of a supernova was still visible. Dave Gray. God does nice work. Love it, Dave. Flatwater 5 agrees. Absolutely stunning. Ah, there we go. In 1994, Type 1A supernova discovered. SN 1994D, explosion of a white dwarf. Very cool. You can still see the leftover grave of it. Well, gang, we should stop. It's been 2 hours, but let's do one more thing before we go. Let's go over to our observing software. And first of all, let's save it. And now let's take the horizon limitation off and run it again. So we only have 29 objects left in the Herschel 400 list. Yes! 29 to go. And remember, one issue I have that I've got to sort out is for some reason I have 402 objects listed. So I have to sort that out somehow. Why do I have 402 objects in the Herschel list when there's supposed to be 400? But anyway, even if we do extra credit and do 2 extra objects or do 2 objects twice, we only have 29 to go. So we did okay tonight. We got, I think we had 50 when we started, so around, what would that be, 21-ish tonight? Not bad. It means in like 1 or at the most 2 more times we can finish. So we'll be watching for those clear nights. I hope you'll watch with us. We'll be looking now for a larger patch than the one we watched for this morning. Thank you for being a part of this. If you like this kind of content, I hope you'll hit subscribe. Hit that thumbs up if you want, but only if you want. It doesn't cost you anything, but it gets the channel up in other people's views. If you want to be notified when we do a YouTube scheduled live stream, you can click the bell, and that way you'll be notified when we're going to do one. You can also go to emeraldhillskies.com, sign up on the email list there, and we don't always succeed, but we try to do 24 hours notice with the email announcement. You can go to Patreon, Emerald Hill Skies, and the Patreon site you can sign up for a monthly patron thing, or you can go to YouTube and search for Emerald Hill Skies, like one word. At the YouTube channel, you can look under store, or you can actually go to, like, I think you can go to, like, yeah, there's a store, and go to Spread Shop, and you can buy hoodies and all kinds of fun things. And we'll have to make some new hoodies that have these things. What was the one we were going to make tonight? All the usual suspects. We're going to make a hoodie that says that. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Thanks to God for making all these cool objects. Thanks to you guys who help. Looks like the Black Eye Galaxy, Stu says. Dave says, really stunning. Stu says, make the most of clear skies. Gandong is kind enough to do applause. Dave says, only 29 to go. Flower 5, still very cool. Muy geniales. That's awesome. Well done, Gandong. Stu says, thanks, Doug. Dark Meta, very cool base stream. You're very kind. Azray, that's great. Have a good night, all. Stu says, good night, folks. Flower 5, thank you to all your contributors, too. Really appreciate this knowledge. Flower 5, usual suspects. What fun! God bless. Have a good